My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home. Hebrew home, Hebrew home. Good morning, Hebrew home. My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home.
Good morning and welcome to Wendy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, October 14th, the middle of the month already. Today's weather will feel like fall with a high of 69 degrees. It's certainly getting a little chillier these days. We have an exciting show for you today. We have a Hebrew Home resident who is going to be joining me. But first we're going to share the news of the day and then we will chat. We are going to skip this week's giveaway. We're taking a week off from it. I need to get to the store and find something really great for us to give away. So stay tuned. We will bring this back next week, I promise. If you have any special requests, definitely tell us. If you like the chocolates, if you like sweets, cookies, salty treats, or if you prefer the soaps and the shampoos, really anything, we'd certainly love to hear from you. So please let us know and we will accommodate. Today's menu for lunch, we are serving chicken asabuco with baked potato and pears for dessert. And for dinner, we're serving 4-bean soup with baked ziti, a zucchini medley, and sponge cake for dessert. So we hope you enjoy our meals. Let's take a look at this date in history. In 1930, George Gershwin's Girl Crazy, starring Ginger Rogers and Ethel Merman, premiered in New York City. I did not see that one, but I know Gershwin has had a lot of really famous hits. In 1943, Japan declared the Philippines independent. In 1957, Wake Up Little Susie by the Everly Brothers reached #1 on the charts. Do you remember that song? That was really fun. In 1960, the Peace Corps was first suggested by John F. Kennedy in a speech that he delivered actually at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. My nephew was actually in the Peace Corps for 2 years in Morocco. It had quite an impact on his life, so that's a little bit about the Peace Corps. In 1961, How to Succeed in Business opened in New York City, and it had actually over 1,400 performances. In 1964, it was announced that Martin Luther King Jr. won the Nobel Peace Prize. In 1978, New York Yankee Reggie Jackson, he caused World Series controversy, I don't know if you remember this, by getting in the way of a throw to first and when he deflected the ball away. Another sports event happened today in history. In 1979, the NHL's greatest scorer, Wayne Gretzky, he scored his first NHL goal. And in 2007, Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered on the E-Cable network. Now, how many of you guys watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians? I'm sure a lot of you do. I have to confess, I have never been interested in that show. I never watched it. But I did look up some interesting Kardashian trivia, which I thought would be kind of funny to share for those who like the show. Did you know, I think this is a little odd, Kris Kardashian, she's got black toilet paper in all of her bathrooms. Isn't that kind of weird? Like, I don't know, something's not right about that. And apparently the very first line from the pilot of the show was from Kim, who shouted, "I hate you all." So I guess the rest is history. Kendall Kardashian, her first job was walking dogs. And okay, get this one. This is what they say. Kim Kardashian heats up her jewelry with a hairdryer before putting it on. I don't quite get that. They say she doesn't like cold jewelry on her body, but again, that's a little odd. Also, today is National Dessert Day, so everybody, I hope you enjoy our desserts, whatever those might be. We have 3 residents who are celebrating birthdays today. They are Alice V., Lillian B., and Nilda G. Happy birthday. And we have a few staff birthdays today too. We've got Jake from our home care department, Andre from Riverwalk's food service, and Johanny from our human Resources Department. So happy birthday. Some birthdays of notable individuals are Ralph Lauren's birthday today, Roger Moore, and Dwight D. Eisenhower, and E. E. Cummings all have birthdays today. So happy birthday to everyone who is celebrating. So let's talk to our guest today, Sal Markowitz from the Hebrew Home. So we're going to pin on and welcome Sal to the show.
Thank you.
It's great to have you. I'm going to put my face mask on while we're chatting. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So why don't we talk a little bit about you? I hear you're a fan of the show. Do you like to watch the show?
Yes, I always like that.
And you're, I meant to bring with me, Sal was in New York Magazine for his very fine clothing. And as you can see, he's beautifully dressed again today. Do you remember that experience?
Yes, sure.
That was really fun.
I still got a picture from it.
You need a picture? Okay.
Mhm.
So tell our viewers about being in New York Magazine. What was that experience like?
It was very nice to be interviewed by New York Magazine.
You became famous.
Yeah, he asked me some questions, but I don't remember.
Oh, I think that they probably asked you about your clothing and the blue blazer, right?
I like to be clean and dressed nicely.
Yeah, well, it shows, right? Always dressed impeccably.
I change shirts every day. I have about 20, 30 shirts, all new shirts, and I like to be clean and nice.
You are a well-dressed man. Do you want to share a little bit with our viewers about your story? I know you are a Holocaust survivor. Do you want to share a little bit?
You ask me whatever you want to ask me, and I'll answer any question you got.
So where were you born, Sal?
I was born in Poland, in a city it's called Będzin.
Okay.
I was 14 years old when the Nazis came in 1939, and I went to the concentration camp for 5 years, from 14 to 19. I was liberated by the American Army when they came in. The war was over, and that's it.
Wasn't there a story you had shared with me, forgive me if I don't remember all the details, about...
You could ask me any story. Don't be bashful. I can answer any story.
Wasn't there a story about being a tailor or a trench coat, or weren't you involved?
Yes.
Refresh my memory and share with our
Well,
viewers.
When I came out from the concentration camp, we were supplied with food in a room to be slept in a hotel. American Joint and Owner, there were two companies that supplied the money for the immigrants. And I came to Belgium. I don't know how, I don't remember, but I was in Belgium for 5 years.
Okay.
And I got married over there. My first child was born over there. So, what was the question again?
What was you did something with the men's trench coats, right? Didn't you?
Yes.
So
yes.
tell us, you got a job, I think, because you were very
Yes.
fast or something,
So
right?
I didn't have a profession when I came out from the concentration camp.
Right.
Not much schooling. So where we were eating breakfast, lunch, and supplied by the American, they supplied the money for all the immigrants at camp.
Right.
And so one day, one man came over there to check out if he's got some relatives that came back from Germany after the war. And he started talking to me. And I told him I was supplied with food and hotel for 3 months. Now they told me they're going to stop it because they have to see out for other people that come in.
Okay.
So you have to have a job. So I talked to this man, and I think he was a landsman from Poland, from my city, and they want me to take off this program and take a job. And I said, I don't have a profession.
Right.
I don't have much schooling,
Yeah.
and I don't know what to do. So he says to me, you know something, I'm a tailor,
Yeah.
and I worked in a factory, and maybe I can talk to my boss, and maybe he can find a job for you. He's a tailor, he worked in a shop. He came back the next day and he told me, yes, I have a presser over here in the factory, and he also knows how to sew on a machine.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? He said to me, he's going to take the guy that is on the press machine, that works as a presser, and he puts you as a presser, and he put the guy that's on the presser, he's going to put him on a machine to work in the shop.
Okay.
And that's how I become a presser.
And you were a very fast presser. From
Yes.
your story that you had shown me, you had gotten through a lot more
Yes.
coats,
So
I think, than others, right?
I'll tell you, yes. So I worked as a presser and small factories, and they couldn't supply enough work for me, so I had to run around. Brussels is a big city.
Yes.
Have to go around and lose time from one company to another, because I needed about 30, 40 coats a day, and they only supplied 10 or 20, so I had to lose time and run around. So finally I found one company that supplied plenty, but he didn't want to pay. So he says to me, how much do you work by the hour? I said, I don't work by the hour, I work piecework.
By the
These
piece,
were trench
right.
coat.
Yep.
So he says, so how much do you want for a piece? And I says, 25 francs. It's in Belgium.
Okay.
It's like half a dollar.
Okay.
And he says, see, my God, you want to make more money than the president? I said, the president makes probably more than me.
Uh-huh.
And all he wanted to do is only pay me 15. And I said to there was a company, one guy was Jewish and one guy was Christian, and
So did you accept the price to pay
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
25 cents?
yeah, so I said, the only reason I'm coming over here
Yeah.
and take this job because you have a lot of work for me. And I can have work plenty in the city, but I have to lose time. So by losing time, my cousin, actually my wife's cousin, knew somehow this company. And
You started working?
What?
Did you start working for them? Did you start doing work with this company?
No. So the only price they want to give me is 15 francs for an hour for a coat.
Right.
But I said I get 25 francs an hour any place. And the reason I want to take your job is because you have more work. I don't have to lose time running around because
Yeah.
this is
Right.
a big city. So for 15 francs, I wouldn't do it. But look, he says, I got two presses over here, a woman and a man, and they only make 17 francs an hour. And I said, how many coats do they press in an hour? And he said, one. And I said, I give you 3 in an hour. So that's a different, no?
Right.
And these two people probably killed because I wanted to come in as another person, maybe they're going to lose their job.
Right,
because
sure.
I was very fast at it. And so that's how I wound up being a presser.
So when did you come to the United States?
I came to the United States in 1960.
And what was your profession here in the United States?
My freshman year in the United States, I used to work in Germany as a labor for bricklayers, plasterers,
Okay.
and over here I was a laborer for them, for the plasters and bricklayers. And on my time, I was pretty fast. I was 20 years old. So I gave them the material that they needed,
Right.
and I looked what they're doing, and I picked up.
So you were so you were a bricklayer,
Not a bricklayer, I became a plasterer.
a plasterer. Okay. And was that your entire career was in that field?
Yes,
And then you retired at a certain age?
yes, I was a plasterer all my life, about 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I made a pretty good living on it.
I bet.
Yeah.
And I know you have a son, right?
I have a son and I have a daughter. I have 4 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren.
You must be very proud.
My wife was also a Holocaust survivor, but she died about 10 years ago on colon cancer.
Oh my, okay.
I never married.
So what do you think got you through, I know you were at multiple concentration camps.
But like saying,
What gave you the strength to keep going forward and to keep living in all those concentration camps that you were
Oh.
in? How did you do it?
how I do it, they needed people to work, the Germans, because their soldiers were on the front. So they put me to work, and I was working. Lucky I didn't get sick, and I kept on working. And when you weren't, if I would have been sick or something like this, they would have sent me to Auschwitz or to other concentration camp and the oven. And I did work for them all the 5 years, and that's what they needed. And that's how I survived. And when there was not enough food, when I worked on the jobs, I worked different kind of jobs, like for instance, I worked on the highway in Germany, painting the white stripe, and did many other trades, but this one was particularly good for me because one German came over to me, an old man like me, and he says, "Can you give me a little oil paint, because we can't get this from the government, it's only for the government, what the government needs." So I says to him, "Can you give me something to eat?" And he's cheap. Today I don't have nothing, but I can give you my sandwich. I said, "That's good enough for today. But tomorrow," he says, "I'll bring a can, and you give me some paint, and I'll bring you some food." And we did this for 3 months.
Wow.
He used to put the food, they have stones with numbers on the highway, and he used to bring me the food. I used to give him the can. I had a can already from one day to the other, filled it up. He knew where it's going to be. And then he want more and more. And I said, "I can't give you no more because I got to make so many meters or yards. And if I gave you too much, I wouldn't have enough." He says, "You know something," this was a German, "you know something, put some more turpentine." And I says to him, "I put already enough turpentine, what you got?" And that's how I make a living.
Oh,
And
my.
I worked in the fields, sometimes painting the highway strip, and I see some carrots or some potatoes or some fruit that grows. I used to steal it from them. And like potatoes, I used to bake on the job. How did I bake potatoes on the job? There was an oven with fixing the highway. So I
Put the
used to,
potatoes in there?
I did on top of this, I used to cook the potatoes or whatever. That's how I survived.
So when you look back at
Yeah.
that time in your life, which was so long ago, like, do you think about it frequently, or when you look back at it, what's your feeling about it? Are you know?
I don't know how it feelings, but sometimes I dream about it, and what I dream is they try to hurt me, and they come at me, and I kick my hands and my feet, and at night dreaming about it. And that's a lot of stories that I dream, and I get so mad I kick it, and sometimes I fall down from the bed.
Yeah.
So they had to put the rails up, by the bed. And
Yeah, yeah. Well, it stays with you.
What?
It stays with you.
yes, I spent 5 years there, from 14 to 19.
Right.
You can't believe it,
Yeah.
what a horrible time
Sure.
I had
Yeah.
since I was 20 years old.
Right,
Terrible.
right. We have a number of Holocaust survivors here at the Hebrew Home, and it's so important to hear their stories. We make a real effort to make sure that we don't forget, that we pay respect,
Oh,
and
I
that,
have the number right on my hand, so if they want to forget about it, I got the proof of it.
well, that's the point, never forget,
Yeah.
right? Never forget.
That's right. That's right.
All right, Sal, we're out of time, but we so appreciate you being here and sharing some of your story with us. It's really just incredibly powerful, and it's just a privilege to sit here with you.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Absolutely.
Because the stories got to be told.
Absolutely.
I actually get a pension from them now for the 5 years that I worked.
From the Germans?
From the Germans, I get a small pension.
Wow.
How much do I get?
Well, they should give you a lot more than a small pension.
Oh, there's no comparison. I worked over there for 5 years.
Right. All right. Our thanks to Sal very much for joining us today. Before we close, we're just going to remind you of some programming notes that we do. Let's see. We have at 11:15, we have Bible study with Rabbi Noah. And we have wellness with Deborah at 1:30. And we have our concert with Larry at 2:30. And we have a rebroadcast of this show at 6:30. So if you'd like to watch it again and listen to Sal's story again, please join us again at 6:30. So on behalf of everybody at Good Morning Hebrew Home, we thank you so much for spending a little bit of your morning with us. Enjoy the day.